Ready to go.
Okay. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Today we're working on this little Brute lawnmower. Brute's a store brand made by MTD, and it's sold in some of the sort of big box stores. And this one's got something special. It's got a 190cc Quantum engine by Briggs Quantum. Now, the 190 is the biggest Quantum engine, and that is by far the sturdiest engine you can buy for a lawnmower or just about any old garden equipment. So, all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. It's free. That's what we work for. So let's get started. This is exactly what it looked like when I got it. The air filter's hanging down. There was no air filter in it at all. You know, the infamous invisible air filter. So we're going to go ahead and pull it apart, and we'll throw a new air filter on before we're done. I like to put new fuel lines and new air filters in these anyway. Come on, buddy. I have a feeling I'm probably glad they didn't have tools, and the only thing they did was open the air box. Oh. Okay. Oh, that's it. And there you go. So we'll pull the top off, which will make it easier to get to the linkage and everything. This one's got an auto choke, so there's a linkage bar across the top. And it's only 2 screws to pull the top off anyway. Apparently on this one, there's only 1 screw to take the top off. One's missing, but I've got one of those in the box. So now we can get to the levers and everything, and we can make sure we don't disturb things. Springs all look pretty good. And that's always a good sign. That means nobody's probably been this far into the engine yet. Are you the 3/8? Yes, you are. Now I'll go ahead and pull the carb off. And just like always, I've got a magnet that I keep my screws on. That way I don't have to worry about losing things along the way. You see somebody put a fuel filter in it along the way. That's a pretty good idea. Let's see how much gas we're working with here. It's got a fair amount of fuel in it. So we're going to have to go ahead and drain that out before we go any farther. So since we know it's got some gas, we're going to go ahead and kink the fuel line. And pull the lines off. If they don't come easy, we'll just go ahead and cut them. Now that came pretty easy, didn't it? Okay, let's go ahead and pull the throttle linkage is a 1/4. You'll need a 1/4, a 5/16, and a 3/8 to work on one of these. That's it. Now we've got that out of the way. Now we can just sort of roll this off and be gentle rolling it because this little piece is plastic. So I'm going to clean the carburetor up real quick, and then we'll take her over to the bench and get her running again. Now that we've got the body all cleaned up, we don't have to worry about making a mess of our ultrasonic. So let's get her apart and get her cleaned up. Now the one thing you want to focus on when you clean one of these is the jet. And if you've got this brass color, then the jet is the bolt itself. If it's a regular steel looking color, then the jet's going to be inside here. But in any case, you're going to want to run a wire through inside here after it comes out of the ultrasonic. Let's get the needle and seat out of the way. Okay, now let's run a wire through it before we send it through. There we go. It feels pretty good. And if you look around, you can see it coming up in the tube on the center of the carburetor. Oh, well, that doesn't look good, so we're going to have to go ahead and replace that. So now, I'm going to run all this through the ultrasonic, and we'll be back shortly. Got stuck waiting today because I didn't have any of these gaskets sitting. So we replaced the gasket. Now, let's focus on the jet. This is usually the root of all problems in a carburetor. The jet allows the gas to go from the bowl up into the throat of the carburetor, into the motor. In this case, if you ever see a bolt that has this brass color to it, that's usually the jet. If you see 2 holes in the side of the jet, or sometimes 4 holes, sometimes there'll be cross holes this way also, and that's a jet. So we're going to clear all that out, make sure she's good to go, Let's get her back together. Even though it's just about never clogs, we'll check her anyway. Nope, she looks nice and clear. Okay, we'll lay the needle in. Get the float all set up. Nope, she doesn't want to go. Let's try it from the other side. Every now and again I hit one of these, but the needle just doesn't want to slide in easily. There we go. Looks good. And the float's moving freely, and that's what really counts. So now we'll get the ball in place and get the bolt back on. So if you took pictures, this part will be pretty easy. We're going to do the linkage, and we're going in the opposite of the way we took it apart. We're going to get the linkage in place. We're going to not disturb that. We're going to put the fuel line on. And you see our original O-ring is still in place on the motor. Some people will tell you to take that O-ring off and put it inside the carburetor, but I've never, ever seen it where it made any difference at all. So we get our first bolt started on the carburetor. Where are you at, buddy? There you are. And we're starting that one just to hold it in place for a second. These bolts are a 3/8. A little hard to get to, but not too bad. Okay, you sit there for a minute. Let me get the other one started. There we go. And she's almost ready for gas. We're going to go all the way down to a quarter and put our top linkage back on. And note, this little arm goes in a little fork here. And always double check this particular arm on one of these auto chokes. This is the choke mechanism. It needs to move freely or she's not going to choke and she won't start easily. Okay, it looks pretty good. And that's just about it. Let's get the airbox back on, put a new air filter in her, and she should be good to go. Start there. We'll switch off to a 5/16. Now putting her on loosely, just because you want to get all the bolts started before you tighten anything down. And she's one air filter and a lid away from being ready to go. I went ahead and put new wheels on because it needed them anyway. They look like little drag slicks, but I think she's going to start on the first pull. This motor feels pretty good, and it is a Quantum, and these things are pretty indestructible. So she's got an oil change, she's got a rebuilt carburetor, she's got a new fuel line, and she's got new wheels. And in an earlier video, we put a new cable on her. Or, I'm sorry, a new cable on her. So let's see if she'll start. And I haven't tried this yet, so hope we didn't spend a lot of money on a bad engine. Yep, she sounds pretty good. So that was about all there is to that one. Since it's lawn cutting day here anyway, I use this one to run around and cut all the trim work before I run the rider around. And she sounds really good. She's super smooth. She sounds strong. This is going to make somebody a good mower. So all you new people out there, go ahead and subscribe. If you made it this far, you might as well. So thanks for watching and see you next time.